What's up guys, my name is Sleetza, thank you so much for tuning in. Blizzard revealed a whole bunch of new cards and we are going to review them all today. So let's dive straight in. The first one is up your screen, the Gluttonous Ooze. So this is basically an acidic swamp ooze on steroids, right? It's pretty good. It denies a weapon and also denies if your opponent has hit your face, it also gives you armor. So it basically neglects him hitting your face. So that's kind of cool. It's you can compare it to situationally a better Earthen Ring Farseer, I guess. It's obviously really strong against any pirate deck, like Pirate Warrior or Pirate Shaman. So this is really, it screams Rest in Pepperoni's Pirate Warrior aggressive decks, all that stuff Blizzard is pushing for the new expansion. It will obviously be very good in the Warrior meta. Or not the meta, the warrior mirror game. When you destroy a weapon of your opponent, that can basically seal the game already, but it also negates the effect and gives you armor, which has some synergy with Shield Slam, I guess. Something that is interesting to note is that it might not always be better than an acidic swamp ooze, because this is like a lot worse when you play, for example, against a priest who doesn't play a weapon, because a 3 mana 3/3 is a whole lot worse than a 2 mana 3/2. So this will obviously be pretty good against weapons, but it will be worse than acidic swamp ooze in matches where you don't get to use the battle cry. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. I'm guessing we're going to see this card a lot. It's pretty meta dependent, but it's pretty cool to have this guy in the game. Mana Bind. So this card, I don't know. I think it kind of sucks. Let me explain why. So this is basically a worse counterspell because it doesn't deny your opponent from doing what he wants. It just allows your opponent to play a spell to get him closer to his win condition, and chances are that the spell he is playing is better suited to play towards his win condition than you can use it for your win condition. So you know, it doesn't even prevent him from doing what he wants. So getting a random card, that the card is obviously better in your opponent's deck than it is in your deck. So just put something else in it, if you ask me. But hey, maybe Secret Mage will be a thing, and we'll see this to counter, I don't know, maybe even Steel Quest, but that will obviously be pretty bad because your deck won't be suited to complete the quest. So I don't know, it kind of lets you do what your opponent is doing, but chances are you'll do it worse because you're playing another deck. So not too excited about this one, to be honest. Vilespine Slayer. Hope I pronounced that correct. So destroy a minion is obviously pretty strong, and it isn't a spell, but it's a minion, and you can actually bounce it back with Shadow Step, which is kind of cool. Remember that the Caverns Below, the quest and Rogue's God, is to play 4 minions with the same name. So yeah, maybe you can play this 4 times. I mean, then you got your quest completed, and you destroyed 4 minions, and you developed a body like every time. So that's obviously pretty cool to see. It's a 5-drop, so it's pretty expensive. Yeah, just for the 3/4 you really want to destroy a minion, and you want to destroy like an annoying minion with it to make it worth playing. But yeah, you can coin it out on turn 4 and destroy the Flame-Ratted Faceless the Shaman just played. You know, so that's pretty cool. I think we're going to see this guy being played in some rogue decks. So, Living Mana. This is pretty interesting. It transforms your mana crystals you have this turn into 2/2 minions, and when those minions die, you recover the mana. So, what this basically means, and this wording is a little bit vague, but you cannot innervate to get more mana crystals and get more of the smaller dudes, which I'll show you right now. These are the guys that you summon. You can't innervate out more. It just doesn't work. you only get to dump the mana crystals you have in your current turn, and you only the mana crystals you got at the beginning of your turn. So it's pretty interesting, but it's also very weak to stuff like devolve, stuff to like silence, and that in combination with it not working on stuff like innervate, it makes me highly skeptical about this card. But then again, if we get to see this card being played in a competitive deck, it will be probably pretty innovative, so that will be cool to see, and definitely something to keep an eye on. So the Mirage Caller, this card is pretty cool. Remember that the quest the priest got, it's to basically to play a bunch of Death Rattle minions, and guess what? Any Death Rattle minion will be a pretty good target for this card. It summons a 1/1 copy, providing you have already something on the board, so that will be a 3/4 for 3 mana, which is kinda good. That's decent, that's good enough. And of course you can get like really powerful effects, so really interesting to see. We're lucky Ragnaros and Sylvanas rotate into wild, otherwise we'll see about a shit ton of Ragnaroses in priest decks and stuff like that. It also has some pretty interesting synergy with stuff like Purify. Maybe you, well, let's stick with the Ragnaros. No, the Ragnaros is a bad example, but you can basically silence the 1/1 copies to make them big again. It may be more conceit shaman type of thing, or taunt warrior type of thing, which isn't, I mean, you don't want to silence your Death Rattle minions, right? But hey, there is some synergy. You could silence them to get a bigger body when you need it, so it will be pretty interesting to see how this card will find play in priest decks. Corrupting Mist. Personally, I got mixed feelings about this card. It's basically a Doomsayer, but the Doomsayer also heals for 7, like basically, like at least. Because you can obviously play this and then spend the rest of your mana to develop some board, but then your opponent will just have anything that's on the board will just trade into your guy. So yeah, obviously it is a little bit slow. I believe I forgot the name, but we have a card that does the same thing but to 1 minion, and I don't think that sees a lot of play right now. So I'm really skeptical about this one. On the other hand, if we're going to see a lot of decks with a lot of tokens with a whiteboard, yeah, it might be pretty powerful. I mean, it's just 2 mana, so when your opponent has like 3 or 4 minions on the board, which are fairly hard to remove, this might actually be a pretty viable tool for the Warlock. So let's move on to the next one, Lost in the Jungle. So yeah, it's kind of lame. Summon 2 1/1 Silverhand recruits. You can do the same with Living Roots, but Living Roots has the flexibility to also be used as a damage spell. It's arguably worse than Alley Cats. Alley Cats have the beast synergy. Silverhand recruits don't have that much synergy cards at the moment. But we haven't seen the Paladin quest card yet. And if I were Blizzard, I would do something with Silverhand recruits. So very hard to tell if this card will see play. It will be, yeah, just time will have to tell if the other cards that Blizzard will reveal are powerful enough to make, yeah, Lost in the Jungle worth considering in your deck. So Molten Blade. Molten Blade is kind of cool. Molten Blade is like a Shiftless Zeus, but for a weapon instead of a minion, which is a good thing, because the average minion is probably worse than the minions in your deck. But the average weapon, on the other hand, is pretty good. So actually the only downside that I see is if you want another weapon, why not just put the weapon you want in your deck? I think this will only be good when you need like even more weapons in your deck, right? But yeah, it's pretty cool. It will keep evolving until you equip it, and you can just use it the turn afterwards. You don't have to attack with it in the same turn you play it, of course. So it's pretty flexible. I think it will see play, but then again, it will remain to be seen how much or how many weapons Warrior wants to run in his deck, and maybe it's Fury War X, Arcanite Reaper. Maybe it's enough compared with all the cards that give extra charges to your weapons, etc. So really curious. Kinda cool card though, really like the design, and Shifter Zeus like mechanics are kind of fun to see, because it's, yeah, you're curious what you get and you're exciting if you get something cool to be this roller coaster of emotions to see what weapon you get, and sometimes it will win you the game, simple as that. So pretty cool card. So the Volcanosaur. Well, we already know what the adapt does, and this guy can adapt twice, and I think that's pretty decent. It's a 7-drop. Yeah, obviously the 5/6 body for 7 mana isn't that great, but you can buff it up, and you can give it stealth, you can do all kinds of things, and this card is just really flexible. If you are a druid or a hunter, and you benefit from having any kind of beast synergy, yeah, it can be pretty good. You can give it poison and wind fury, and next turn it can kill 2 guys, providing that it lives and it doesn't take 6 damage on the first attack, obviously. But I think this card, the pure flexibility this card provides, will actually make it good enough to see play. So, talking about Hunter, the Hunter quest card got revealed today. It's called the Marsh Queen, and it requires you to play 7 1-cost minions, and you get this reward, the Queen Carnassa. And this is really odd, because the most powerful moment to play a 1 mana minion is obviously turn 1, so it's kinda counterintuitive. On the other hand, yeah, the reward, which I'll show you right here, is the Queen Carnassa. That's really powerful. It shuffles 15 raptors into your deck, so that's like sort of Jade Idol thing, where it's pretty much really hard to lose the fatigue battle. So that's pretty good, and what's even better is that these little buggers, the little raptors, are 1 mana beasts that have 3 attack and 2 health. That's obviously amazing, and they also have the battle cry, draw a card, which is even more amazing because Hunter historically really lacks card draw. On the other hand, you probably need it if all you've been doing is playing 1-drops and curving them into, or not even curving them, but playing them into Queen Carnassa. You have some catching up to do. So yeah, really curious how this will develop, how many 1-drops will be optimal in order to activate the quest. Also, it's really interesting to keep an eye on what 1-drops Blizzard releases. We obviously have seen the Firefly already, which is like a 1-drop elemental, and the Battle Cry is, it gives you basically another 1-drop elemental. So running 2 of these already enables to summon, to play 4 1-drops already without really making your deck all about 1-drop. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah, we're just going to have to see more 1-drops, because you can't just play 1-drops until you do this, man. It's so weak to AoE, so weak to Mails from Portal, and all these AoEs are just a lot of hero powers, really, and just kill 1-drops. And that's really weird, because Hunter traditionally wants to snowball their board into a win. So they really push the curve. Well, not the curve. Wait, let me start that sentence over. What they're really doing is they give Hunter a lot of tools to go late game. But it remains to be seen if playing a bunch of 1-drops won't make your deck too inconsistent and too bad, and just lack too much tempo to even get there, right? So that's very interesting to watch. Let me know if you're going to play Hunter. Hashtag make Hunter great again. I will be playing Hunter because I love that class. I will be doing another video just on this quest and my thoughts on Queen Carnassa and Carnassa's Brood. So stay tuned for that. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.